yourself a whirlwind of troubles you don't even understand.
If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one.
Oh my God, yo.
Listen, let me reiterate what I was saying. When I say not following behind this path, I mean both son and daughter.
Twitch support.
Sons don't be out here thinking that it's okay to get women pregnant and then just have to dish out some child support later. Daughters definitely don't think moving like this is acceptable. Oh no. Oh no.
Daughters are gonna be trying to do the same thing she's doing.
This is 2040.
That's terrible, yo.
Nothing wrong with that, but
that's
$680 a month is what she would have been getting from one man if he fathered all 6 kids.
Daughters are gonna be looking to use men
instead
for money.
That much from all 6 different baby daddies. $340 a month. This reminds me of
both of y'all flashed
with just one kid. This chick I just saw today that she's supposed to be getting $200,000 a month for the next 18 years, and she divorced the father. What was it, PJ Washington? I think that was his name. After only 2 weeks of that baby being born, 2 weeks after that, after she gave birth, she filed for divorce. Wow. And she got videos out there talking about, oh,
you want
to get that bag? Get you a baller. Get you a basketball player. They dumb. Oh my God. Woo! Hey fellas, watch out. Protect yourself out here.
Fuck that
crazy
shit.
Out here in these streets. Stay out of them. Stay out the streets, man.
2040.
Make sure your plot game is strong.
So why don't you have 6 baby daddies?
Cause that's not a bright idea. Oh my God. Your body. Look, the body count alone. The body count alone.
Yeah, she's not marriage material, yo. She ain't. Nah, bro.
Like, dang, she got a kid by every man she done been with since high school, just about. Cause the first one was still in high school, and after that, she just kept having more with the different guys and stuff. How many? She ain't up to 6, but she at least 5 right now. But God, women be tripping me out, boy. Women be tripping me out. And it also goes into, I'm being a little extra right now.
Gotta be careful because they have a hacker room jungle.
But it also goes into, you think of the vulnerability that is the woman, right? And how they are susceptible to getting pregnant by each and every man that they have sexual
really should have gone W. So here it is.
Let's say she's only had 6
and
bodies.
Twitch.
Well, clearly she's gotten pregnant by all 6 of them. And it's just like, all right, when do you lock it up for one man? When you get to that point where you're like, hey, look, man, I'm doing everything that I can by you that I feel is right, that you feel is right. Why won't you marry me? Type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Instead of her just moving about from one guy to the next, like, your kids don't even got the same daddy, man. all your kids are half siblings to one another. Probably all look different. They might all be different nationalities. Like, who raised this woman? Who got her thinking that this is perfectly acceptable and perfectly okay? It's almost as if she wants to get pregnant by different men.
We can't even move up. We can't even move up. Twitch is gonna keep trying to gang. Telegram's gonna keep trying to gang.
You would even think
we can't do shit, yo.
She would look at the kids as if they are a bag, as if they're money, rather than someone to nurture.
If we end up doing that, we have to just back away. We have to shove and then leave. Twitch is MIA again.
What if this woman gets to the point where she
we know Hector's top side?
$2,000
we have to shove and leave. That's all we can do.
$3,000 a month. I'd be set for real.
How
many more kids do I need to have? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm looking at this whole thing wrong. If I'm getting 17% from each guy, and that's $340 a month, maybe I need to get with a man that's more wealthy, so that I can get 17% of what he earning. That could be $1,000 right there. Maybe I just need to get 1 more, not 3 more. Ain't no telling how this woman might think about this stuff. You'll be surprised. Look, man, I grew up in the hood. I used to listen to women talking. I used to be like, what? Y'all out here wildin'. Y'all be finessing and scamming for real, for real. Look, y'all, I keep coming across some craziness, man, on the TikTok. So I'm gonna keep on knocking out these videos for y'all, so y'all get another one today. Y'all know what time it is. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay
Fuck y'all.
For more. As always, you can follow your boy on the gram and Twitter at Articuno, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Nope. Hold on, let me replay what they were just talking about. Just the beginning.
6 different men. So I'm just gonna tell y'all why.
Just the beginning. Just the first part.
A lot of people got something to say about the fact that I got 6 kids with 6 different men. So I'm just gonna tell y'all why it is better to do it this way. If I had 6 kids with all the same dude, I get 34% of his income, which is only $680 a month. If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one. $340 a month times 6 baby daddies is $2,040. So why don't you have 6 baby daddies?
Oh Lord, nope. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to a different perspective. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button for your boy. Now, I said the goal was gonna be 100,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're somewhat on track for that, but we can speed it up. Hit that subscribe button for me real quick. I'll wait. Shit, it should have been done by now. It should have been done by now. All right, cool. Now we can get this video started. Y'all, I done came across this video. This woman right here about to teach young ladies something. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all ready for this? I'm ready. Let's go.
Why is Akshan made anyway?
The fact that I got 6 kids with 6 different men. So I'm just gonna tell y'all why it is better to do it this way. If I
and why is my jungler not doing shit for me?
She got 6 different kids, about 6 different men.
Hecarim, Twitch, Akshan, everybody going mid.
Better to do it except
my team. I love it.
Gonna have them all by
That's why we play Teemo mid. That's why we play Teemo mid.
6 kids with all the same dude, I get 34% of his income, which is only
bitch, what are you doing? Don't run from me.
If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one.
Oh my God, couldn't even flash in time.
6 baby daddies is $2,040. So why don't you have 6 baby daddies?
Oh Lord, nope. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Did this woman really just sit here?
Yeah, she did. Hold up, let me hear it again.
What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to a different perspective. Now, I done by now. This woman right here about to teach young ladies something. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all ready for this? I'm ready. Let's go.
A lot of people got something to say about the fact that I got 6 kids with 6 different men. So I'm just gonna tell y'all why it is better to do it this way.
She said she got 6 different kids, about 6 different men, and she's about to explain why it's better to do it that way than to have them all by one man. Okay, let's hear this.
I had 6 kids with all the same dude. I get 34% of his income, which is only $680 a month. If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one. $340 a month times 6 baby daddies is $2,040. So why don't you have 6 baby daddies?
Oh Lord, nope. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Did this woman really just sit here and make it seem as though that's okay? Oh. She ain't trying to work. She just want these men to pay for her. Instead of being accountable, instead of going out there getting a job, you know what? Screw that. Instead of being married by one man, why didn't she just marry one man and have 6 kids by one man and let that one man take care of her and them 6 kids?
Because she wouldn't get as much
Instead of
money.
being out here trying to finesse a bunch of men into getting money from all of them. And now she gonna live off of that money, and probably these kids probably ain't gonna get much of anything.
That's fucked up.
So she pretty much, y'all, I'm tripping right now.
Women be having kids just for money, yo.
She is getting this much money
just to get a bag. Just to get a bag.
This is like her plan. She's okay with this. She has 6 different kids by 6 different fathers, and she's getting that much money. She was like, let me do the math. If I would have had all these kids by one man, this is how much I would have been getting. But nope, this is how much I am getting because they all got different daddies. Look, we're gonna play that again. I can't. Woo.
Nah, we're gonna Harold bot, yo. We're gonna Harold bot.
The fact that I got 6 kids with 6 different.
Yeah, Heck Room coming too.
Of course, a lot of people got something to say. You out here in these streets.
So I'm just gonna tell y'all why it is better to do it this way.
It's not better. It's worse.
If I had 6 kids with all the same dude, I get 34% of his income, which is only $680 a month.
Look, man, I want to sit down and have a conversation with her kids. I would do it too. Sit down and have a conversation with every last one of her kids and let them know, look, y'all, don't y'all follow behind this. Don't y'all follow this path. You're going to be causing yourself a whirlwind of troubles you don't even understand.
If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one.
That was the first tower?
Let me reiterate what I was saying. When I say not following behind this path, I mean both son and daughter. Sons, don't be out here thinking that it's okay to get women pregnant.
And the daughters are going to be thinking, oh, later. I can use men for money.
Daughters definitely don't think moving like this is acceptable. Oh, no. Oh, no.
$340 a month times 6 baby daddies is $2,040.
She sound country, too. Nothing wrong with that. But $680 a month is what she would have been getting from one man if he fathered all 6 kids. But instead, she's getting that much from all 6 different baby daddies. $340 a month. This reminds me of Brittany Renner, but obviously with just one kid. This chick, I just saw today that she's supposed to be getting $200,000 a month for the next 18 years. And she divorced the father, what was it, PJ Washington?
Where's our jungler, by the way?
After only 2 weeks of that baby being born. 2 weeks after that, after she gave birth, she filed for divorce. Wow. And she got videos out there talking about, oh, you want to get
Wait, who? Brittany what?
And she $180 a month is what she would have been getting from one man if he fathered all 6 kids. But instead, she's getting that much from all 6 different baby daddies. $340 a month. This reminds me of Brittany Renner, but obviously with just one.
Brittany Renner. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Yep, there it is.
Pieces of fairy tale. Lots to do before I punch out.
One kid.
Can't tell, but I've grown quite the beard under here.
Starting off at number 5, we have Nagoro, Japan. If you were to travel out to this sleepy valley village in remote Japan, you might see a lot of elderly folks working the land, putting up signposts, playing with children. However, your eyes would be playing tricks on you. A majority of the hundreds of Nagaro residents are actually creepy human-sized dolls. They are everywhere. They fill the schoolhouse, they toil in the fields, they hang out in the town. You know, you're pretty likely to wave hello at one before realizing you've just extended a friendly greeting to a scarecrow. The town had around 300 human residents at one point, but as is the case in a lot of Japanese villages, the population has dwindled. Young people have left for better jobs in bigger cities, and many of the elderly residents have passed away. These days, there are only about 30 people living in the village. If these dolls ever gained sentience, I'd say it would be over for the humans in Nagaro. So you might be wondering where the dolls come from. They couldn't have just appeared one day, could they? Lucky for us, they do have a rational creator. Tsukimi Ayano makes the dolls, and recently she's started inviting people to workshops to make even more. Ayano moved back to Nagaro after living in Osaka for most of her life. The first doll she ever made was actually supposed to be a scarecrow to keep birds away from her house. The original was modeled after her dad, and soon after she was making similar figures and images of all sorts of villagers. It's an interesting memorial project, filling up an empty village with dolls who look like deceased residents. Maybe someday the spirits will return to their vessels and live in the village as they did when they were alive. Imagine a village of living dolls. Yikes. I can only imagine what it would be like at night. Dolls moving in and out of your peripheral vision as you hear children singing by the schoolyard. Off in the distance, a hammer echoes through the valleys. You hear muffled shuffling behind you. The dolls are tired of being made of straw and paper. They want a real human body again. I'll never look at a scarecrow the same way. Up next at number 4, we have the Belitz-Heilstatten Hospital. Abandoned buildings are usually bad news at night. Nothing good could ever come from visiting a crumbling edifice during the witching hour. You never know who or what could be lurking. Abandoned hospitals are even worse news, considering all of the death, pain, and suffering that have transpired within. And this abandoned hospital in particular had a whole host of reasons not to visit at night. The Belitz-Heilstatten has a long history behind its haunting. Way back in 1898, it was used as a sanatorium for lung diseases, you know, tuberculosis and the like. As it housed those poor breathing impaired Germans, I am certain it saw its fair share of suffering and death. Medical science has come a long way, but back then, tuberculosis was pretty much a painful death sentence. A lot of this would have happened before the iron lung was invented in the 1920s too, so it's not looking too good for these patients. So now we have an old sanatorium full of ghosts with bad lungs. What else? Soon it became a field hospital for treating German casualties during the First World War. This was around the time that machine guns and mustard gas were first being used, so I would imagine it was quite gruesome. Now we've got soldiers both young and old, both going into the Belitz. At one point, it even housed a young injured Adolf Hitler, blinded by gas and wounded in the leg. Then, in 1945, the Russians occupied it during World War II, taking it as a field hospital once again. So we have lung patient ghosts, German soldier ghosts, Russian soldier ghosts. That's a pretty wild mix of spirits. No, not that kind of Russian spirit. Nowadays, the complex is shut down and the elements have started to take over. The forest is creeping in and it has become dilapidated as hell. They give tours of some of the main areas with a canopy pathway, which, you know, it's kind of lame. But don't worry, they've hidden the good stuff from the public. An intrepid adventurer could sneak past the barricades and potentially run into some of the phantoms in the crumbling hallways. But I would never suggest that to you. That would be illegal. Coming in at number 3, we have Makami Manor. It's very likely you've already heard about this one recently. It went viral for offering $20,000 to anybody who can complete it, with a $500 penalty for every failed challenge and use of profanity. Don't get too excited, you haunted house aficionados, because this is no regular spook show. Makami Manor is an extreme haunted house that operates year-round. Over 24,000 people are chomping at the bit for a chance to test their mettle, yet not one single person has made it through. How is this possible, you ask? Well, it's literal torture. Visitors can expect to be drenched in fake blood, screamed at by actors, locked in tiny freezers, put underwater, dragged across concrete, and more. In fact, there's a pretty rigorous screening process that involves one of the most insane waivers I have ever seen. Actually, This waiver is probably the most insane thing experienced lawyers have seen too. Here are a few excerpts just to give you an idea of what exactly is going on here. Once a participant enters MM, or McCamey Manor, there is no quitting unless serious physical or psychological injury is present. Injuries may occur during the tour of MM, which include, but not limited to, head, neck, and back injuries, death, stroke, traumatic brain injury, brain aneurysms, cerebral or retinal hemorrhage, subdural hematoma, loss of consciousness, whiplash, harmful heart reactions, nausea, headache, dizziness, lacerations, broken or sprained bones, torn ligaments, bleeding wounds, scrapes and or cuts, heat stroke, or drowning. Their tour may include the use of hypodermic needles, zappers, tasers, or dog shock collars. A nail may pierce their hand may be smashed with tools. Medication may be given that includes hallucinations or sedatives given in pill form or by hypodermic. They may be fish hooked, which may inadvertently cause rippage to the mouth area. They may have a tooth extracted without Novocaine. They will be participating in various medieval torture devices such as knife throwing while strapped to a spinning wheel. MK Ultra or mind control may be used. Water torture may be used. And those are just some of the things on this crazy waiver. There's been some controversy around McCamey Manor's hiring practices and also how they screen their participants. So I would just stay away in general unless you're looking to hear the screams of people being tortured. And if you're thinking about trying it out yourself, just don't. I'm looking out for you here. Number 2, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. This West Virginian manor opened with only the best of intentions. Thomas Story Kirkbride was a doctor and crusader for the mentally ill who founded the American Psychiatric Association. His goal was to treat asylum patients in a more humane way for better results. He built the asylum to offer the patients more freedom, light, and fresh air. And if everything went to plan, it would have been wonderful. However, after being built, mental health illnesses were diagnosed more often, and there were major stigmas surrounding this. As such, the asylum was totally overpopulated. 5 patients in every 1 patient bedroom. Malnourishment on a wide scale. These factors exacerbated the mental illnesses that the patients already had. By 1938, the asylum was 6 times over capacity, with patients running wild and orderlies unable to stay in control. At its peak, the 300-person facility was holding 2,600 patients. That means that patients were sleeping on floors and freezing rooms. The windows were filthy, the walls disintegrating. Many patients were being locked in cages, and the more unruly ones were being lobotomized through Walter Freeman's ice pick method. That's when they take an ice pick shaped instrument and push it through your eye socket to disconnect the frontal lobe.
Hell no.
And it renders you functional but totally zombie-like. By the time the asylum closed, the only wing that was expanded was the graveyard. Those poor patients. Tours are given in the main parts of the asylum, and many ghost hunters claim to feel the presence of the hundreds who died in awful conditions. There are many ghost stories abound, including ones about a little girl who was born and lived in the asylum, and a mysterious woman floating through the kitchen. It has been said that if you are in the right room at the right time of night, you can hear the shouts and hollers of patients from years gone by. And finally, at number 1, the Catacombs of Paris. If you didn't already know, there are kilometers of limestone passageways underneath Paris, filled to the brim with human remains. After the city's graveyards overflowed, allowing corpses to spill into the streets, a military officer decided that piling all the excess bodies and remains down in the limestone tunnels was a good idea. So now we have underground passages lovingly decorated with the bones of Parisian ancestors. How fun. Being around human remains at night is already pretty scary, and being in dark tunnels full of them cannot be too fun. But there are way more scary stories about the catacombs than one would expect. About 2 kilometers are open to the public on a regular day, but beyond the state-sanctioned skeletons, there is so much more to explore. It is very easy to get lost among the tunnels and pits and bones, and many people actually have done just that. In 2017, a couple teenagers were lost for 3 days, and they were found suffering from hypothermia. Even scarier is the famous uncovered video camera story. In the early 90s, a group of catacomb explorers found a beat-up old video camera. There was footage still inside the camera of a man who was very clearly lost and alone in the catacombs. He seemed to be going mad, trying to find his way out of the massive network by the light of his camera. It ends with him dropping the camera on the ground, and to this day nobody knows what happened to him. Poor guy should have brought a map. Some say the horror movie As Above, So Below was inspired by this event. There are so many more stories of secret societies, mysterious voices, and underground swimming holes that would be enough to creep out the most cynical of thrill seekers. Maybe someday we can take a deeper dive into the horror that is the catacombs. Coming in at number 5, we've got the Freeling House from Poltergeist. An iconic visage in a sleepy neighborhood, the Freeling House stands out in moviegoers' minds even years after Poltergeist ended its theatrical run. The movie, directed by Tobe Hooper and Steven Spielberg, is a classic by all accounts. However, most of the iconography stems from the interior shots, which were done at a soundstage. The house itself was largely used for exterior shots, you know, establishing shots, the move-in, the swimming pool, but these were enough to burn the seemingly average house's facade into the brains of all who watched. The suburban atmosphere made anyone who watched it relate in some way. You know, that could be your house causing you ghostly problems. This is classic Spielberg. He liked things looking normal and residential. In fact, the area that this house is situated in is colloquially known as Spielbergia, as a few of his films were shot there. The original house still stands, but now has residents living within. It was built around the time that Poltergeist was being filmed, and before the homeowners moved in, the film crew got their footage at the empty abode. Again, it was mostly exterior shots, but the implication of horror remains. You might be wondering how they managed to do the shot where the house collapses into a portal, especially if the house is still standing. Well, they didn't actually blow up the house. I'm sure the current homeowner appreciates that fact.
Oh my God,
no, instead they made a replica atop an industrial vacuum rigged with wires. Plus, they shot it with shotguns when the cameras started rolling. It's a lot of fun, to be honest, and the effect was great. You can technically visit the Freeling House today. It's located in a community near Colma, California, and folks have become acclimated to horror heads rolling through for a picture or two. Just don't be a nuisance and don't try to get inside. Oh, and just in case you were wondering, there is a swimming pool in the back. Whether or not there are skeletons floating around is up for debate though. Folks might claim that they've seen some paranormal activity stemming from the house, but no proof of this has ever appeared. It's likely just people seeing what they want to after watching the movie, but hey. Coming in at number 4, we've got South Pasadena Suburbs from Halloween. Speaking of that suburban feel, why not visit the real Haddonfield? Of course, Haddonfield is a made-up place intended for use as a backdrop for the murderous activities of Michael Myers, but the houses we see, both belonging to the Myers and Strode families, are real. They're not in Illinois though. They both sit snugly among the white picket fences in Pasadena. Halloween was one of the first horror movies to bring the scares home, and by that I mean by placing Michael Myers in this supposedly safe and sleepy suburban oasis, it made everyone afraid of their own neighborhoods. The veneer of quiet safety was tarnished, and nothing could be the same. So visiting this neighborhood and walking home to the Strode residence is kind of like witnessing the birth of modern suburban horror. Isn't that fun? Try not to imagine Michael though, mask on, knife in hand, jumpsuit zipped, creeping around the corners, although you might actually see him behind every hedge. Maybe it's a hallucination, who knows. That's hard to avoid. Apparently the folks that live at Laurie Strode's old place keep a pumpkin out on the porch for people who might want to snap some photos. That's nice. Still, get too close and you might find yourself in the sights of a mask-wearing lunatic. Michael's childhood home has a bit of a different look these days though. It's actually been converted into a chiropractic office, so you can get your spine snapped in a much more beneficial way. The thing is, I don't know if I could ever relax enough to have my back cracked in the Myers home. Could you? Coming in at number 3, we've got the Dakota Hotel from Rosemary's Baby. If you've got a couple cool millions lying around, maybe you'd find yourself living alongside some eerily friendly Satanists. That's right, Rosemary's Baby was filmed at the Dakota Hotel, located at 72nd and Central Park West in New York City. It's gorgeous, sure, but the price tag of any real estate in New York is astronomical. Still, it is nice to look at all that from the outside. In Rosemary's Baby, it becomes the Bramford. Young Rosemary and her hubby Guy move in, excited to start a new and a lovely location. At first, the place is a little sketchy, but they make it their own. Too bad the local chapter of Satanists have their eyes on the young couple, eh? Well, you know what happens next. Throughout the years, many famous individuals have lived in the Dakota, from Lauren Bacall to Judy Garland to Maury Povich to John Madden. The most famous of all would probably be John Lennon and Yoko Ono, to whom the Dakota owes a great deal of infamy. While standing under the archway, John Lennon was murdered by Mark David Chapman. There aren't any direct connections between the movie and Chapman, but he was a man obsessed with religion. He saw Lennon as a phony, in Holden Caulfield's terms, for preaching messages of peace and love while still joking about being bigger than Jesus and owning millions of dollars worth of things. Chapman was trying to work on his relationship with God, and he wasn't sure whether or not he was going to kill Lennon, but in the end he did, and did so on the steps of a hotel famous for housing fictional devil worshippers. Draw your own conclusions about that one. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Timberline Lodge from The Shining. A far cry from the real Overlook Hotel, the Timberline served as the exterior for one of the most iconic lodges of all time. Built upon Oregon's Mount Hood back in the 30s, this lodge is now a National Historic Landmark. In fact, it was originally meant to help put Americans back to work during the Great Depression. These days, it's better known for housing the Torrances in their darkest hour. Interestingly enough, Stephen King envisioned a totally different hotel while writing his legendary novel. After staying at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, he was inspired to pen the now famous tale. But the Timberline was immortalized in Stanley Kubrick's filmic adaptation and thus remains the face of The Shining. A beautiful lodge overlooking snow-capped mountains, the Timberline would be a lovely place to vacation.
Oh shit, I'm not recording.
Year-round skiing is a wonderful prospect, isn't it? But the ties to malevolent spirits and axe murderers are hard to shake. That hasn't stopped folks from flocking to the hotel though. All sorts of people spend their leisure time at the Timberline, even specifically requesting the room 217 featured in King's novel. However, room 237 featured in the movie doesn't actually exist. So good luck booking a room up there. If you do end up spending time at the Timberline, make sure you do it while a lot of other guests are guaranteed to be around, otherwise you might start dreaming up specters and spirits, both paranormal and liquid. And don't get me started on the bloody elevators. Coming at number 1, we've got the Seneca Creek State Park from the Blair Witch Project. Sure, it's a great place for a hike, but are you really gonna risk running into whatever evil entity did away with the 3 documentarians from the found footage classic? Over 6,300 acres of foliage and fear await you. You can kayak, fish, and geocache to your little heart's content, but just keep an eye out for strange happenings. If you see any odd structures, it's probably a good idea to head in the opposite direction. Realistically, you'll be alright if you choose to spend some time here. Fresh air is good for you after all, just be careful. Hell, you might even run into some more found footage filmmakers during your time here. They might not be faking it though. Who knows what copycats might get up to these days. Don't read too far into the Blair Witch lore before heading out. You might find yourself on edge during the entirety of your adventure. And staying overnight? Probably a bad call. Just in case, you know?
Coming in at 5, the Sultan's Palace. At 716 Dauphine Street in the French Quarter of New Orleans stands a 4-story home housing one of the most unusual yet terrifying ghosts, the Sultan. Built in 1836 by Jean-Baptiste Laprette, a plantation owner who rented out his city home when he was experiencing a shortage of cash. However, the man he rented it out to was a little odd. His name was Prince Suleiman, a Turk who claimed to be the Sultan of a Mid-Eastern country. He had many wives and family members as well as slaves and servants. Now things started to get a little weird when folks began reporting that not only did the Sultan's harem consist of many women but also young boys, with stories of orgies and kidnappings quickly surfacing. However, things took a truly gruesome turn when a passing neighbor made an early morning discovery. They noticed the house was particularly quiet and saw blood dripping from the gallery oozing out of the front door. He contacted the police and what they found would haunt them forever. Body parts were strewn all over the house, which was also covered in blood. Women, children and guards were slaughtered and beheaded. However, there was one body that had been left untouched. The Sultan. He had been buried alive with one hand reaching up through the dirt, almost as if he was trying to claw his way out. The identity of the murderer still remains a mystery to this day, and as of today, his angry spirit is said to roam the home, creating unusual noises, playing loud music, as well as making unwelcome advances on passing female residents. Coming in at 4, the Queen Mary, Long Beach, California. The RMS Queen Mary is a retired British ocean liner that sailed the North Atlantic Ocean between 1936 and 1967 for the Cunard White Star Line. She was built by John Brown and Company in Scotland along with RMS Queen Elizabeth, with the ships being built as a planned 2-ship weekly express service between Southampton and New York. However, with the outbreak of the Second World War, Queen Mary was converted into a troop ship and ferried Allied soldiers during the war. Following that, she was refitted as a passenger service before retiring completely in 1967, during which time she sailed from Southampton to the port of Long Beach, California, where she remains permanently moored. However, since that day, claims have been made that the ship is haunted, with Time magazine including it among its top 10 haunted places. According to some reports, one of the staterooms is alleged to be haunted by the spirit of a person murdered there, supposedly anyway. The Queen Mary also explicitly promotes Suite Room B340, which was a former third-class cabin as, I quote, notoriously haunted. Many ghost tours take place in the ship, including Dark Harbor, which operates during Halloween. As it stands, up to 50 deaths have been logged on the Queen Mary, which truly makes her one of the most haunted ships in history. Coming in at 3, Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia. Also known as ESP, this is a former American prison located in Pennsylvania and was operational from 1829 to 1970.